I am currently 26 years old, and I wanted to make a video reflecting on my adult years and the 5 best ways that I believe I have saved money throughout a full-time career, and to set myself up in 2026 to the best that I was able to do. So we're going to jump right into it here. The first way that I was able to save a ton of money was through vehicles. My first car when I was in high school was a 2004 Toyota Prius, and I obtained it when I was on my permit for $3,000 cash. I had the money from lifeguarding and working a little bit with my father, doing manual labor, lawn care, that kind of deal. And that $3,000 Prius lasted me until late 2020 and well over 220,000 miles. Did I have to make a couple repairs here and there throughout those 4.5 years? Absolutely. But I was driving a car that was gas efficient. I mean, I was, even at that young, living on a tight budget, and it got me to where I needed to go. Was it the flashiest car in my high school parking lot? Absolutely not. Did I get judged for it? Yes. But you know what? I don't regret it for a second. And every summer, once I had that car and on school breaks, I would work and I would drive to the lake to lifeguard. I would drive to be a substitute teacher. I would drive to work on lawns and on boats. It drove me to college. It was my car throughout all of college. So that vehicle really set the foundation for saving money for me. And my second vehicle I've had in life is a 2001 Chevy Camaro. And these are the only 2 vehicles outside of rentals that I've had. $6,000 cash. I got this once the Prius deteriorated in late 2020. And with the Camaro, a lot of the original parts at this point have been replaced, but there's a great engine in it, and in theory it should still last me for at least another 50,000 miles. It's currently at 130,000 miles. I've taken good care of it, consistent oil changes, making sure all the fluids are in it, brakes, tires, etc., spark plugs, ignition coils, all that kind of stuff. So avoiding the trap of going into debt for a vehicle just to be flashy has really saved me a lot of money over time. I've only spent $9,000, excluding insurance and repairs and gas, of course, on the actual obtaining of my vehicles, and I've been driving for over a decade now. The second way I've saved the most money in my adult years is through the decisions I made in college. So I got my bachelor's degree in 3 years. I graduated in 2020 during the pandemic. So what ended up happening was I got refunded halfway through my 3rd year for the remaining room and board and meals on campus, because they sent us home in early February and we never came back. We never had a graduation or anything like that. So I got a big chunk of money back from the school that way. And every summer and winter break, I was working, just like I mentioned earlier. And that allowed me to essentially have my first 2 full years of college paid off by the time I entered the actual workforce. And my first working job in corporate America was an accounting job. And I was making a modest $50,000 at the time, but I was able to fund my own apartment. And by the time I concluded my tenure at that accounting job later, I was there for under a year, but I was diligent with my spending and saving. I was able to have my full degree paid off. So I had the bachelor's degree with 0 loans to worry about for my adult years. And that's not in a braggadocious way. It's just the way I worked and the way I planned it. It was important to me to get out of that with as minimal debt as I realistically could. And I don't regret that decision whatsoever. The third way I've saved the most money in my adult years is through clothing. Guys, the sweatshirt I have on, I really should have it off because it's like 75 degrees right now in this park. I got this for $1 at a yard sale. It's a really comfortable hoodie. I've been wearing it quite a bit, and I was just never the type of person to get in with the fads for name brands. In terms of footwear, I really wear a black pair of Nikes 90% of the time. And when I'm not wearing a black pair of Nikes, I wear a pair of Timbs I got when I was like 20 years old that are really worn down, but that's more for like manual labor situations. And I also have a pair of Pokemon Crocs because I'm a big Pokemon fan, and those are more of my lounging around the house footwear. That's it when it comes to footwear, truthfully. And I go to Walmart, I buy a stack of assorted t-shirts, black t-shirts, and it gets you through. I have a couple necklaces that I rotate, some bracelets as well, and some TJ Maxx attires in my wardrobe. Like if I have an interview or some kind of more formal event, I'll get my dress shirts and that kind of deal at TJ Maxx, and it's essentially under $20 per shirt that way. So I have a few of those. And I think a lot of it, as you're gonna tell in this video, kind of comes down to not really caring what the public perception might be. You want to dress for success, of course, when it makes sense to, but you also kind of want to be comfortable, and you want to be cost efficient with the clothing, because that money could be better spent in other categories, in my opinion. The fourth way I've saved the most money leading to my mid-20s here is on rent. There's been situations in the past where I have couch surfed, I have traveled, and all of those months where you don't spend $1,000 to $2,000, or if you're in a big city, well over that on monthly rent, that adds up extremely fast. And there's people that are working that essentially throw over half of their monthly income on housing alone. And I've done everything in my power to make sure that's not the case for me. I just made a video a few days back about when I lived with the 40-year-old single woman. And she had this luxury apartment. So I was paying $900 a month to be in a great city with a beach right nearby. $900 a month, utilities included. I could use her sofa, her TV. It's a very unorthodox situation, but I've done a lot of different things like that to really cut down the housing costs over my life. There was a period of time when my stepfather kind of needed support, and he let me stay with him in exchange for working for him for a bit. So I was able to stack money. I was able to really help him out and not have to pay. I understand this is a luxury that not everybody has, but if you have a privilege of this kind, I feel like it's wise to take advantage of that. And if you're a little more easygoing with what you want out of your housing and residence, you could really get creative when it comes to that. So absolutely, without exaggeration, guys, my choices when it comes to housing by age 26 and working throughout, not spending a ton of money, really has saved me $50,000+, I think, for sure. And also I worked for a college, and we're gonna get into that as well. But I worked for a college for about 3 years, and the housing was included on campus during this time. So this whole duration, when I was traveling, doing recruiting for them, because I worked in admissions, I didn't have to worry about wear and tear on my car for a big chunk of the year because I would get rentals. I got free food when I was traveling to events. So I got dealt the situation where I would always have to get sent to like crappy locations on the surface, right? Locations that nobody else really on the team wanted to go to. But the silver lining of all of that was if I just took all of these opportunities to go wherever, I could save on food every day, which for most people is probably what, like 20 to 30 bucks at least a day. they paid for that. I got to protect my old vehicle, which could be a nuisance down the line if it ever were to die on me. And I was able to just stack even more of a margin of my paycheck that way. So that is the sacrifice I made that I don't regret, from the lens of it helped set me up. And the final, fifth thing that I've done, which is the best way that I've been able to save money by age 26 here, is not having children. I hate to be like super blunt with that. I mean, I know everybody has their own interests when it comes to this and raising a family and what timeline they want for that. But I can confidently say I would not have even a fraction of the free time or the savings that I currently do if I were to make foolish mistakes with intimacy in my early 20s or in college or anything like that, right? Children are a blessing, but in my mind, I think it is also just wise to plan for it. Try to set yourself up first, especially in today's society more than ever. And really just not having those bills to pay anybody, whether it be like a baby mama, whether it be on diapers, formula, all the clothing as they grow. Truly just me being willing to wait on that has given me so much more freedom and flexibility that most people don't have. And it's interesting now to see, this isn't from a pompous standpoint at all, but I have some good friends in my life that have a child, multiple children, and it is a lot of work. I've seen the amount of hours they put into this, and they are just extremely busy and, to be honest, mentally exhausted a lot of the time. And I think it makes more sense for me to set myself up now to try new things, and then in my 30s I can try to have a child or two with the right person when and if it makes sense, is the way I see it, right? And really combining all these factors has put me in a great position. So if you're a young person watching this video, maybe there's something you could take from this, but this is my story, and those are kind of the things I did to really try to minimize financial disaster over this group of years, and lay a foundation that could hopefully grow in the next decade. So I ultimately don't have to work until I'm 60 years old. You know, that should be the goal for anybody, I feel like. Unless you're truly doing something that you love in life. Who wants to work when their body's breaking down? I don't. If there's any creative ways that you guys have saved money, feel free to comment it, and thank you all for watching.